Hey y'all, Stephen Lee Clark here again from L.A.D.S.R with another piece of gear that we have in the gear library. If you're interested in anything like that, you can follow us at L.A.D.S.R on Instagram. And yeah, I'm going to be posting in there. There's a link to the YouTube channel and all this stuff. This is only the second one I've done, but this will be an ongoing thing to try to showcase everything we have in the library. So today in the library, we're doing one of the coolest and like honestly just like wild ass synths that we have. I say wild, it's one of my favorites to just sit down and kind of just jam with. And the reason for that is because it's so dynamic. And what I mean by dynamic, I mean tonally dynamic. So we can start with something that seems quite simple, like a nice tone that seems familiar and something that we've heard before. But as you'll see, this thing can get really cool and intense and gnarly really quickly, and it's one of my favorite things about it. So today, this is the French company EOwave, and it's the Quadrantid Swarm. I always have trouble saying that, but the Quadrantid Swarm. Semi-modular synth, digital synth with 8 voice engines, or 8 sound engines. You can see down here there's organ, strings, drone, reed, metal, chiptune, grains, and noise. And as you saw already, these are touchpads, and the touchpads can be used in a couple different ways. They're polyphonic. They can also, they're also a sequencer, as I'll show you here. So, oh yeah, and to do that, we have to go into, honestly, my favorite mode, which is monophonic mode, right? And the reason for that monophonic is my favorite is this little knob here called spread, and I'll show you that in a second. But, so in monophonic mode, it utilizes all 8 engines for each tone, and spread is like how that kind of works together, and like I said, it can get pretty intense. Just right away we go into some far out tones that I just absolutely love, and again, it's an 8-step sequencer. So, as you can see here. Now, each one of these is tunable. So, like, you tune each one separately. In polyphonic mode, it's a quantized tuning, which means, you know, whatever you're playing, they're going to go together. So, it's tuning is... I will say that I ran this into Ableton with a tuner, and it is a little like fidgety. It's a little hard to tune, but it's not that big a deal because A, it's not impossible. You can do it, and B, it just sounds really good when you play it together because it makes sure that all the notes go together. One interesting thing about this is it actually has spring reverb inside, which is really, really cool. I just love this synth so much. I will say that the spring reverb, if you're recording with it, I literally have an Ableton, an ongoing Ableton thing that's called project that's just called EOwave Jam, and I just go in there and again, because this synth can take you so many weird places, it's pretty cool to jam on it, record it, and then revisit it, and you can pull things out that you really like. And I do that quite a bit actually. And like I said, it's just like so tonally dynamic. So as I said, digital synth, 2 analog filters, the one on the right, and they run in sequence. So it goes routed through here and then through here. The one on the right is a low pass filter. The one on the left is a, you can toggle between high pass and low pass, which is cool because if you have the, if you put the first one on high pass and then that makes, as they work together, it makes it a band pass filter, which I personally really like for the percussive elements. You can see here there's a perk knob and there's a perk volume knob. And what that does is at the very beginning of the note, hear it without it. Here, let me do this. Let me give you a little sequence. And the perk, it just puts this like percussive thing at the very beginning of it. So you can hear that. And then you can turn that up. And now we're running a band pass filter, so we can kind of adjust it and see how we like it. So yeah, really interesting sound that we can design here. Over here to the left, you just saw that this is the clock. There's a clock out. This is all MIDI capable too. There's like MIDI in and all that stuff. Here's the envelope. You can switch between, so here's the attack, and you can switch between decay and release. We have it on release right now. Up here is there's a frequency modulation knob with a CV in right here, and then there's a frequency. So this frequency is like an overall frequency for everything. And then, okay, as I showed you before, these 3 knobs are really interesting. This is like where the sound is like gets really crazy. So again, let me just drop all this stuff down here. You have quite the simple, I'm gonna turn this back to low pass. Quite the simple tones, right? And as I said before, the spread gets it really trippy. It's almost like, you know, like offsetting different oscillators. So then there's character also. Character definitely does stuff to the tone. A lot of times it really, in some of these voices, it just feels like it makes it louder. But yeah. So see if we can clip some of that high end. It gets like gnarly. See how crazy it just gets like right off the top. So cool. See how it gets that like metallic, gnarly sounding. Okay, so let me change. That's the reed sound. Let's do like the string sound and see what that's. So see how it's like. Let me turn the character down so we can get an idea of what this sounds like. Really, see. And as we turn this up, it gets really intense. And then the spread again just makes it sound so gnarly. Bring in the perk. So one thing I forgot to mention is that this mod knob right next to the first filter is the envelope is routed to there. So if you want to do like, let's make let's bring the attack up, and then so that's what we have right now with no mod, and we'll bring we'll make sure the resonance is up, and then turn the mod up, and you should hear the envelope be applied to the filter. And as we move the attack up, try that with the poly. Yeah, so that's really, really cool. Let's see here. Let's go back to mono. So on the other end, over here, we have the mod corner, the LFO. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different waves. And it's super cool. So the mod is routed to the second filter, right? So the LFO is routed to the second. So if we, well, let's just go like a nice sine wave here, and we'll just turn, let's see. And we'll bring in the mod over here. And yeah, so it's really effective. Super powerful. So the other thing I really like is well, the reverb sounds really good. Here's the reverb input, and here's the reverb level. You can actually mod that too. But what I really want to focus on right now is the slew knob. So slew will like kind of it'll manipulate the like angles of the waves. So if we can take the slew out, and then we'll put it Okay, I'll just show you what my favorite thing is to do right off top. So I'll like mod the frequency with it, and I'll put it over here to one of these little random waves over here. And then, yeah, it's really... And we can adjust the speed, and now watch as we turn this through. And then, as we talked about before, you can bring that first. So as I said, let me just take this out and remind you where we started with all this. So as I said before, this synth is just so wild in the coolest of ways. And here, let's just do this. That's where we started. So as you can see, there's just so many things you can explore with this. And it's truly just like a really far out, super far out synth. Let's just let's mess with this filter with the LFO here. So, as I said, we can go from 0 to 100 with just literally a couple turns of a couple knobs. So, and that was only 2 of the 8 voices. I'll come back to this and make another video, and we'll just explore it further because, like I said, there's endless things you can do with it. It's such a fun and honestly like trippy synth. So, yeah, once again, this is Stephen Lee Clark with the EOwave Quadrantid Swarm for L.A.D.S.R library. Hope to see you soon.